This is the standard Oculus dashboard, and what
Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning into D-Knowledge. So this is a platform where I bring industry experts to talk about different things that are happening around our design industry, and we could both together explore different things together. So in this episode, we have Gabriele with us. Hi, Gabriele. Welcome to D-Knowledge.
Hi, Tejj.
So if you could give a brief about yourself to our audience out there.
So, good morning, good day, everybody. My name is Gabriele Romagnoli, and I'm head of community for a VR startup. It's called Tvori, and a creator, always at the interface between technology and businesses, always there to on a mission to get more creatives into this world, and that's some of the thing I'm gonna shortly tell you about today.
That's wonderful, Gabriele. So let's today talk about virtual reality. So what exactly is virtual reality, and how does designers could contribute to this growing ecosystem of virtual reality?
It is fascinating. So I think that so first, very briefly, right? What is virtual reality? There is this continuum of reality. So there is the people often mix the augmented reality with the virtual reality, but we are used to filters. That is what people on your phone. That's what usually people call augmented reality. And the moment that more and more digital content is superimposed around your world, the more virtual it gets, right? So when you are, for example, in one of this is an Oculus Quest. You are completely immersed in this virtual world, and that's where we usually talk about virtual reality. And usually, very often, designers think of it as a final outcome, as a final experience. And it doesn't happen very often that they kind of like make this switch and they start thinking, okay, but first of all, how can I contribute? So you mentioned, how can you actually contribute? A designer could contribute to this. So right now, is especially at the beginning, like in the past 2-3 years, there was a very high demand for developers, right? People that would code. And this is kind of like mimic what has happened for the web, right? First, when the web came out, there were a lot of developers, and let's be honest, the web was a very ugly place in terms of not the way it looks, but just the way the experiences were designed. And then what happened? Thank God, designers joined the family, and we are seeing the same thing. We are seeing the same thing where actually now users are becoming more and more demanding. And same way, also in virtual reality, more and more people are getting this kind of headset. And right now, just to give you an example, we are at around 10 million devices we expect to be by the end of the year, right? And that is, it starts to be a really self-sustaining ecosystem. So what happens is that at that moment, users become more demanding, and businesses also become more demanding, and consequently people realize that better experience needs to be designed, needs to be created. And I personally talk with a lot of VR designers, AR designers, a lot of companies ranging from automotive to infrastructure, healthcare, just pure design. And what I see there is there are more and more of these opening actually where there is a demand for people that start designing and provide inputs to the developer in a way that it doesn't end up something that people kind of like hate or have a hard time using. So designer will be needed and are starting right now to actually jump on board and have huge impact. And there are different ways to do this. So there is a layer where there are a lot of startups that are already actually creating their own products, and they start needing designers. So sometimes it could be also an internship, right? Sometimes it could be then for an actual part-time position. And nowadays, especially, many of these startups have completely got rid of their office. And that is the moment where that kind of skills could be provided from really anywhere. So I believe that if you are a designer and you want to start exploring this kind of medium, and especially in VR, it's a great moment to jump in, because from your own house, once you have your own setup, you could start really exploring and work hard, because let's be honest, you also need to prove yourself and build your portfolio, and join this. Now, that being said, this is how can you contribute, but what can you actually do, right? Okay, I want to do this, then what? So personally, and this might come a bit of as a disappointment for some, right? But I want to be transparent, and I want to. So there are different ways of doing this. Often it happens that people start, for example, with importing their skills and tools from their 2D work. For example, let's think about Figma. Let's think about After Effects, right? Let's think about all those things that could be used, right, to recreate some concept. And some very successful, because some kind of like animated After Effects with some masks could still give away the idea and illustrate a concept, rather with a reasonable impact. Now, if you want to start, then really building something that is more tangible, and also learning, because that is also another important part. To start learning and see what people are doing, it's actually important to start with observing what others are doing. And the best way to do that is just getting one of these headsets, right? So you could start with some simple concept first, to show what you can do, porting your own skills into this work. The second is that to understand actually this work is and how this function, to create something, even with Figma and so on, that makes sense, you need to be there, right? You need to be and see how the current Oculus dashboard looks, how games are made, how productivity applications are made, and that you will learn. That it's a great learning experience. And if you do that systematically, you will gain knowledge that puts you in front of many others from the get-go, because there aren't still a lot of designers exploring this world in a systematic way. So if you start getting this and getting one of these headsets, you will start learning, you will start practicing, showing this concept, and then you will be able to build your portfolio and start engaging in conversation with different communities all over. So this is one of the things. As I was saying, so first would be to actually indeed port your skills. Second would be to learning, right? To learn. The third would be to start creating and prototyping something like that. Very often, again, what people would, the next step would be to start learning some Unity, right? This is what many people would start suggesting, right? How does that work? And this pull people off, right? They feel that Unity is complex, is overwhelming, and that is, and I don't blame them, right? Let's be honest. Unity doesn't look like it's really a designer tool. And it's not. I mean, it is really a production. It's really something. It's like WordPress, right? Would you design a website with WordPress? I don't think you would. So similarly, same thing. But that's the tools that are available. Until I think and that's why I want to introduce now the tools that we are actually working on. We are working on Shapes, Shapes XR, and it's a tool that runs on Quest, and that's now I'm going to show you right now. Because the next point is, let's start creating, let's start imagining how this interaction could actually look or feel like. And the easiest way to do it is just be there without that obstacle of actually needing to learn, needing to spend months, right, creating. So what I can do is that I can hop in, I can share my screen, and I can just show you how then you could turn those visions, those ideas into something that you can start showing, you can start sharing with others. Should we do that?
Yes, Gabriel, let's do some hands-on
let's do some hands-on. Let's do some hands-on. I like the now you should see, right? Shake your head. Yes, here we go. We have a green light. If anything happens, let me know. And so this is the standard Oculus dashboard. And what I was talking to you about is this is our tool. It's called ShapesXR, and it's available. Actually, Tejj might put a link in the description at the bottom of the video, so that anybody that has actually a Quest 1 or a Quest 2 can actually experience himself. And this is the lobby, right? So on top, we have some examples that I'm going to show you straight after. But I can kind of like show you an empty space, right? We start from scratch. And I'm here in this empty space, and you can just start creating. So here on my hand, I have a bunch of tools, and I can first maybe bring a guy in. And I get this guy in the center of the scene. Okay. So if I would want to create, for example, a simple interface in front of this person, how would I do that? Again, you open this and you say, okay, I would like to have maybe cube, and I draw it in space. Here we go. Now I would want maybe to have a button here, let's say, and I do the same. Here we go. We got a button, and let's say we want to add some text on it. Let's type some text, start. Of course, everything is rather gray, right? So we can change color, and we can say, hey, let's get a blue here, let's get a light blue here, and maybe let's get a white for the text. That's it. So we now have this, what could be a simple menu interface. And there are a lot of things that you can do within it, right? I mean, you can, for example, select multiple objects and then maybe move them in space with using the gizmo and moving an object around, maybe rotate it to adjust. And at any moment, what is also particularly interesting is that you can put a perspective in, and then you can say, okay, I want to go and see how this would look like in scale if I was in the actual environment. You can get this, that is the viewpoint that you see what is this perspective here on your hand. You put it here, then I go in, and that's it. So now this is how the menu will look like. And you see something very simple, that if I was a user, my hand would basically overlap part of the volume, something that how would I see otherwise? So I think I might as well move it a bit further up and flip it this way. Let's see if I still have that problem. Less, right? I'm doing something super quick now, guys, right? So it's not super precise, but the idea is to be actually more effective and iterative. So, and you can, as of next week, actually, and you are also be able, right now it's not possible at the moment of recording of this video, but you'll be able to actually import your own images and models inside. And this allows gazillion of opportunities. You could have your icon, you can have your 3D models, and create an interface, create a little scene. Now, I want to show you one thing. Because once you create, you also want to tell a story, right? So this is just a static design, but what would happen if you would actually, let's say, tell a user flow? So let me start with one thing. I'm gonna, oh, by the way, to delete object, as you've seen, you just throw them away. That's the way we like it. So I'm gonna get the guy in, I'll back this, make it a bit gray. Now, what I'm going to do is, so this is stage one of this creation, right? So let's say that I'm going to duplicate this. Then I'm going to delete this guy, get a guy that has his hand raised.
So all these shapes and the human figures are already there into the application?
Yes, so this is part of the basic assets. So you have a wide variety of assets. It's going to be expanded. This is all part. We have icons.
Wow.
Right. For example, some curved screen, if you want, that you can always change and modify, make them more flat or more stretched.
Nice. So all these ready-to-go assets will be really helpful for a beginner to actually try his hands on.
Exactly. So without the need of anything else, you can create so much stuff. And I mean, we also have brushes. That means that if you want to sketch, for example, let's say a tree. Okay, I want to have a tree. We don't have it. Okay, fine. I'm going to do like this. Okay, this is part of the trunk. Then it's like this. Right? And then I'm going to.
Wow, this looks so good.
Right, let's make this maybe a little bit green. Let's do that. What do you think? And now you got your tree. It's sketched, but how long did it take to make? Nothing, right?
Yes.
So this is one of the things. You can be extremely sketchy and communicate your idea super quickly. And at any moment, you can, for example, let's say that you like, oh, I like this angle. You could take a picture, set your angle, zoom it in maybe. Okay, I would like to tell this story, right? Take a photo, and now the photo is in your headset, so that you could already share it, make it as part of your portfolio, and in general, start creating from the get-go. And do you have any other question about this, Tejj?
Yeah, so the delete interaction, I really loved it, like throwing it into the out of negative space,
Right.
like somewhere getting disappeared. So that's a great interaction, and it's a easier one.
Bye.
Oh, wow. Very nice, that one. So the other doubt I had was in terms of, like, a lot of viewers will also have this. Okay, how is the, in terms of accessibility, like, are there any ways in which the colorblind simulation and other things could also be done in this application?
Right. So right now, no. And in terms of color blindness, we have it's very tricky also because of the limitation of the headset, right? So one thing that you will notice, and I want to be very honest with you here, is simulating color shades accurately on a Quest with all the limitation that it has, it's tricky. So you see, for example, you see how this box, despite being like green, it's almost hard, it's very hard to see the edges of it. So in order to see those better, I have to, for example, lower the light. Now you see how this block get more green. So similar for red, for example. If I make it red, you will see now I see it, but if I go back to the 100%, it's almost invisible. And this is one of it, because it's so hard to nail real-time simulation within a Quest. So that's about color. What we do have is,
this is a nice option that you have just now shown, which is the light thing. So that light thing, is it like based on the environment, or we could also implement it to the object for the lighting preferences?
So no, this is just an environmental lighting. So one of the things that we also want to have is the ability to add lights in, right? So to add shadows. Again, yes. It also becomes so much heavier, right, for the Quest to handle. And what we want is to allow people to actually create bigger scene and also to be together, because that's one thing also that I mentioned, I haven't mentioned, but any moment you could actually invite others. So if anybody with shapes would get this code, would enter in this space and would be able to start creating with me, right?
Oh, wow.
So exactly. So this adds to the kind of like complexity of making something that is still light, where this is real-time synchronized, where there is lights. So we wanted to start with something that is robust, that wouldn't, let's say, scare people away at the same time, would feel accessible from the perspective of how easy it is to get in and start creating, right?
That's wonderful.
Right. So the one thing that I wanted to show is actually this little concept. So let's say that I have, you see that I have created these two scenes, right? So two stages. I have one, stage two, the guy is raising his hand. Now let's do that. This guy, maybe to indicate that he's interacting with this button, I'm gonna create a little laser starting from his hand, maybe making a little bit transparent, a bit more transparent, yes. And let me get a highlight around this button to indicate that it is that has been, let's say, selected. Right, let's get it white so that it's more visible. Right. Right, so now I have that I got 1, 2, he highlights, start. Now I duplicate this again. And then I could, for example, say what is the action triggered by that button. And it could be, for example, that maybe a cube appear. So then I have 1, 2, 3, and you could continue telling your story and showing your interaction in a way.
So 1, 2, 3 are nothing but the different pages or the sequences, we could say then.
Exactly, exactly. And you could duplicate, change the order, and so on. And people that would be in this page with you could actually do the same. So they could just play it. And now, for example, I could push play, and I would say, okay, 1, 2, 3. And this is from the perspective of the user, from the viewpoint that you have put in the scene. You could put another one. You could say, I want another one from above here.
Yeah.
I could push play again, and 1, 2, 3.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Right, and I think that this was very quick, but what I can show you is some of the concepts that we have created. So this is a template, it's on top, it's freely available for you, and you can check. So you can, how does this look like? So this is a prototype of a cooking app. So you go here, you select what you want to have. It says, let's have a pancake. Great. You start play. So you see I have selected pancake. I start play, and then I get, for example, the different ingredients that are needed, mixing the ingredients, and so on. So this is again is a little it is a little concept created again. And you see, this is nothing that like what I've shown you, right? So this is all created with these pieces, and it's all there.
Nice.
In this little scene.
So this is a virtual kitchen.
Sorry again?
So this is the virtual kitchen.
Right. You could also imagine that this could be the augmented reality layer that would be on your app, right? Exactly. So this could be a VR application, but with certain design choices, this could become also something else. So, and it was just a sample, right? To show people what's possible and to get their imagination going. And again, right? So again, this is all made with primitive shapes. This is just this is an egg, but actually it's not.
Nice. Also, I love the level of details that it's just showing out there, like something so real.
Yeah, right, indeed. And I mean, the fact is, once and as I mentioned, at the moment of recording of this video, we don't have an import, but once you will watch this video, we will. So you will be able to go here, click on a web panel and drag some models. It could be simple OBJ, stuff that you can download, images, your own icons, and then start creating. Once you have done it in 3D, you can make a picture. Oh, I like this angle. That's how my UI look like. Take a picture, and without having any 3D knowledge, you could actually start creating yourself, right? And start building your portfolio and showing, for example, how a user flow of this app will look like, right? Like we have done now. So this is how I imagine this app to be or to work. And then, of course, let's be honest, you might also need to have and to go into Unity to maybe realize that concept that you have created, maybe create some simple interaction. But at that point, you also have the ability to actually to have understood what to build and how without all the limitation of Unity, and you can have experimented very fast. One more thing is also that when you have some, it could also be a client, right? In order to pitch something to a client, you need to show him something. Right, and if to build anything, it takes a lot of effort and money and time because you do that from Unity. But with this, You could actually create, if the client has a headset, you could also send him one if you are part of a bigger company. You can say, let me show you how your VR training is going to look like, how your data dashboard is going to look like. This is a mock-up, it's an example, but you could build it in how much? 2 hours, 3 hours? That's it. And just the novelty of being in VR for the client, it's already gonna be like, oh wow, now I get it, right?
Nice. It's also a surreal experience that we can't just give it in amount of 2D presentations or in prototyping Figma and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Exactly. And if you're prototyping a web app, it does make complete sense to show a 2D concept. But when you are in 3D, it's very hard to show and show function, because very often it happens also that designers tend to go overboard, maybe with some graphics materials that are not representative of what's going to be in the final product due to all the limitation, right? So the clients get this, it's like, but this is not what you showed me, right? And that is very tricky. So staying low fidelity early on, it contributes to selling the idea, sharing the concept, and then maybe you can add a mood board with some concept, some more, let's say, rendered image. But still, the core of the presentation is a VR presentation that you give straight away.
Yes, Gabriel, that's indeed true. So one more doubt I was having was, so the objects that I created in 3D, can they be exported back outside to the normal world from the VR headset itself?
Right. So the stuff that you have actually exported right now cannot be exported. So yeah, that is the thing. Is you can get directly in contact with me, right? And I mean it. So for anybody that is actually listening, I'm very responsive on LinkedIn. You can find me there any moment. And then we could discuss about it, because on our backend, we could export your project and send it back to you in various formats, right? So again, if there's something that is extremely valuable to you, we could say it, and we could do it. It is not a problem. What we have seen very often is also that designers export and communicate their concepts still in 2D, right? So they still make that 2D picture and they share it. Of course, the idea would be to have exported as an FBX, could be kind of like an animated, or maybe a Unity package that you can already start importing into Unity to use that as a sort of like canvas. It is possible. You should get in contact with me. Based on how we see also people using it and what kind of formats they will need, we certainly plan to implement export based on the user's feedback.
Thank you, Gabriel. So it was really wonderful seeing all this hands-on, and thanks for giving us a wonderful walkthrough to all the viewers out there. So we are looking forward to host you again in our upcoming episodes with many more VR stuff. So thanks for your time, Gabriel.
Absolutely. And let's also do something even more fun. If anybody within your community has a headset, let's get in touch, and why not organize one in VR so that we could actually showcase on your channel how also the collaboration aspect is. I think it would be fun, and would give a more vivid impression of how easy and fun it is to create together.
Exactly. The virtual meetup would be a great idea. Thank you so much, Gabriel.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.